The phrase, "Get behind me, Satan," might be the most misunderstood spiritual command in history. It's not about evil at all, but about transforming how we view generosity and love in ways that seem completely irrational to modern minds.
That's such an interesting take, especially considering how this moment captures Peter, supposedly Jesus' closest follower, being called an obstacle. It really challenges our assumptions about good intentions.
Well, diving deeper into this text, what fascinates me is how it portrays this radical concept of perfect charity, not just tolerating but actively loving our enemies. It's completely counter to everything we're taught about self-preservation.
That reminds me of something I witnessed recently at a local store. This person kept letting others cut ahead in line, and everyone was giving them these looks like they were being foolish.
You know what's fascinating about that example? The text actually suggests that this kind of seemingly foolish behavior serves a higher purpose. It's described as a form of spiritual warfare, but not in the way most people think.
Could you explain more about how that works? It seems so counterintuitive.
Well, instead of seeing the difficult person as the enemy, this perspective suggests they're more like unwitting participants in a larger spiritual battle. By responding with extreme generosity, you're actually fighting against what the text calls the true enemies, the spiritual forces rather than human ones.
That's exactly what makes this so revolutionary. It completely reframes how we might approach conflict in our daily lives.
Right, and here's what's really powerful. When Jesus talks about going the extra mile or turning the other cheek, these aren't just nice suggestions, they're tactical moves in this spiritual strategy. It's like spiritual jujitsu, using apparent weakness as strength.
Though I have to wonder, how do we balance this with real-world consequences? There are practical concerns about being too generous.
The text actually addresses that directly. It acknowledges that some people might be idle or taking advantage, but suggests our response should still be one of radical charity. It's not about being naive, it's about choosing a different kind of power.
So it's almost like wearing what others see as foolishness as a badge of honor?
Exactly. And there's this beautiful paradox in how the text describes it. By acknowledging our own foolishness and embracing it for a higher purpose, we actually become wise in a different way. The text calls it being a fool for Christ.
You know what's really striking about this whole discussion? How relevant it feels to our modern conflicts and divisions.
And that's perhaps the most profound insight. What looks like weakness might actually be the greatest strength. The text emphasizes this as a continuous process of refinement, gradually removing our self-imposed limitations on love and generosity.
Well, that certainly gives me a new perspective on those moments when I'm tempted to protect my own interests first.
You know what's really powerful about this approach? It suggests that by choosing to respond with excessive generosity, we're actually participating in something much bigger than ourselves. As the text puts it, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. It's all a gift anyway.